Guys, so this training is all about helping you master MyFitnessPal. It's just about saving time, making it more convenient, and making it just work for you in the best way possible to help you get the best results. So sometimes when we start off using MyFitnessPal, it can feel quite footery, overwhelming, it can be annoying, frustrating, it can feel like a real inconvenience, and I get that. But I really want to push us if we are going down the tracking route to stick with MyFitnessPal because it is one of the best and most accurate ways to track your diet. Now, it's not 100% accurate, which we're going to talk about later. So don't get too hung up on, you want to make things as accurate as possible. It's the consistency that is more important, to be honest, than the accuracy. And I say that with these because I also want to be as accurate as possible. When you are tracking, you want to be, you know, looking at quantities, portion sizes, weighing if you can, because if you're just like eyeballing what you're putting in, it can be really hard to see what you're actually having. So if you're just used to having the same amount of food all the time, it's going to be quite hard to make adjustments if you're not measuring out. So that's one of the first things I'm going to say. Be aware of what you're actually entering, the quantities and stuff like that. Please don't guess because it'll just make things really inaccurate. But the accuracy is never going to be 100%. Even on food labels and stuff on packaging, it is never 100% accurate, but it's as close to accurate as we can get. And that just means that if you're consistently having the same amounts every day, then we should be seeing changes. It makes it so much easier for us to adjust things, to make any necessary changes, to make little tweaks here and there. Whereas if you're just kind of guessing every day, we're not really going to know where we're actually having our jumping off point from and where we can make these changes. So please make sure you're being as accurate as possible with your tracking. You're weighing things where you can, or measuring all the rest of it, looking at your portion sizes, and just being mindful and aware of what you're actually consuming and entering into MyFitnessPal. I know it's so easy to just say, oh, that looks like such and such, and then just fire it in. But ideally, we don't want to be doing that. We want you to be as accurate as possible, like I said. And that's where the consistency is the most important thing. If you're having the same things every single day, or close to that, if you're consistently measuring things out and being as accurate as you can, then it's going to be so important. It's going to be such a game changer for your progress, and it's just going to help you and I out both so much when it comes to monitoring your progress and seeing where we can make changes and stuff as we go. So I've got a little PDF. Well, you should have access to the PDF as well. You can look at it or as we go, or you can just check out my screen, which I'm going to share just now. Here we go. So this is tracking like a pro, which we want you all to be able to do. So to kick us off, this is just basically taking you from start to finish on a MyFitnessPal very quick tutorial, basically the basics that you need to be successful with your tracking. Okay, so first of all, you're going to need to download the MyFitnessPal app. So if you're watching this as a wee refresher, obviously you'll know some of these things, but if you're totally new and have never tracked before, sounds obvious, but if you download the MyFitnessPal app, it's a little blue square. It's got like, I think it's Under Armour that made MyFitnessPal, or if it still is, who knows. But it was the little blue square, and it's got like a white outline or something in it. I don't know if it's like an active person or something it's meant to be, but that's there. So that's what the app should look like. It'll ask for your details. So you'll enter your weight, your height, your age, all these kind of things. And that is so it can give you goals. It will give you calorie goals. It'll give you macro breakdown goals. If you're not sure what calories and macros are, then you can check out the protein guide again, have a look through that. There's calorie, macro guides and stuff. I don't want you to worry too much about carbs and fats, first of all, okay? All we're going to be focusing on is a calorie and protein guide. MyFitnessPal is going to give you your calories and macros. Please ignore them because they're going to be so unspecific to what you need. We're going to do that together. So please ignore whatever it gives you. So don't pay attention to it. It might give you some ridiculously low calories. I mean, you could enter you want to lose 2 stone in 2 weeks or something, and it will try and calculate that in some way for you. So please do not, because it's wild. Don't do it. So just ignore whatever MyFitnessPal assigns you, and make sure you unsync your activity tracker or smartwatch from the app as well, because you'll see that when we go on to the little, I've got screenshots and stuff of that, or if you open up the app just now, you'll see at the top it'll have like your calorie goal, it'll have like how many calories you've consumed, how many you've got left, and then it's also got exercise calories. So if you go for a run and it tracks how many calories you've burned, and I say that because it's really inaccurate tracking how many calories you burn in a workout. If it's telling you how many you've burned, so say it said you burned 400, it's going to add 400 calories back onto your daily calorie allowance. And if we're trying to get you to stick to a calorie goal and it's adding them on, it's adding on all these extra calories, when really you've only burned about 200 maybe in that workout if you're lucky. So that means you're going to be, it's going to, if you eat back those calories, it's going to take you way out past your goal. And it's just going to really muck up your progress. So please unsync your activity tracker or your watch or whatever. Do not pay any attention to how many calories are burned in exercise, and please do not try to eat them back, because it'll just mess you right up, okay? And it'll play havoc with your calorie balance and all the rest of it. So please, please, please. And it's easy to get quite obsessed with it, so don't do it. Don't go down that rabbit hole. Make sure you switch that off, you unsync it, you do it in that. You just, I think you might actually need to sync it up in the first place, so don't even sync up in the first place. Okay, if it asks you to, don't do it. Right, let's get into the good stuff here. So we are going to talk about entering your own goals. So as I'd say, don't pay any attention to don't pay any attention to the calorie goals that MyFitnessPal gives you. Like I said, we'll do them together. So for talking's sake, we've been through it. I've given you your calorie goal and a protein goal. Macros, in terms of carbs and fats, we're not too worried about just now. So all you're going to do to enter your goals is go to the wee dots at the bottom right. I'm pointing to my screen as if you can see what I'm pointing at. But if we're here, that might help. So I've highlighted it here. You're going to go to more. Then you go to select goals. Okay. Then you go to your carbs, calories, protein, and fat goals. So you are going to look at calories and protein. So then it'll ask you to enter your calorie goal. So if I've given you a calorie goal, say it was 1600 calories, you enter 1600 calories in there. And then it's going to rejig all your carbs, protein, and fats. So it'll be a percentage. You want to make that up to 100%. Okay. So if you toggle them about and it doesn't make up to 100, then it won't let you complete it. So make sure. So if I've set your calorie goal, maybe I've not set your protein goal yet. If not, then just never mind the macros, don't pay any attention to them. But if I have, then make sure you put it as close to it as you can. It might not let you do it to the dot, but that's fine, because a lot of the time you probably find you won't be actually eating your protein to the dot or your calories. You'll always have a wee bit here or there. But figure that out as a percentage. You just toggle that about and it will give you in grams, and I'll give you your protein target in grams. So you just make that match up there. Carbs and fats, don't worry about it. Make your life easy. We are focusing on carbs and protein unless I've said to you otherwise, but very rarely I'm going to be messing about too much with people's carbs and fats, because it just makes life too difficult, too overcomplicated, and it's unnecessary. We're focusing on calorie goal because it's going to help you with whatever goal you've got, whether you want to lose weight, gain muscle, whatever it is. And your protein goal is just there to complement your target. So whether you're trying to lose weight or gain muscle, we're always going to be focusing on our protein goal as well, because it is so beneficial in so many ways. But it's all in the protein PDF if you've read it. If you've not, go and check it out, because it will really open your eyes up to why I go on about protein so much. Okay. Now let's talk about how to add food. So if we had your kind of your homepage open up, or your diary, this is how it looks. So you've got, like I said, your protein goal or your calorie goal up the top. Your food tells you how many calories you've consumed. Then it's got how many is remaining. And then this is the exercise one I was talking about that we just ignore. We don't want that to be changing. We don't want that to be seen any difference. We don't want calories being added on here at all. And if you're seeing numbers coming up here, it means you're synced up in some way, whether it's through Apple Health or something like that. So make sure that's not happening, because it'll affect how many calories you've got remaining here, and it'll add them on, like I said. So you've got your breakfast, lunch, dinner, there's snacks. I think you can add in water at the bottom as well. So if we have a look, if I was to select breakfast, I would go to add food, and then it'll take me to this page here. So if you've never used this before, your app's going to be totally blank. Mine's, I've obviously used it, so I've got some foods that come up automatically. So foods that you've had before will be saved, and it means that if you start typing in, it'll come up and it'll show you the one that you've had, which is really handy, because it just saves some time and it's makes things a lot quicker. So I would go to have a yogurt for my breakfast. I typically have the same breakfast every morning. So I would enter my yogurt. There's a few different ones there that I've obviously had we'll just go for this one to start with. So I would hit select. Then it gives me my calorie breakdown, my macro breakdown, everything here. I'll edit the serving size. So I would have 200 grams of yogurt. So I would just times it by 2. You can play about with the serving size as well. So depending on, you know, what's been uploaded, you can change how many grams it is, all the rest of it. If it's you know, liquid volume, mils, all that kind of thing too. And then you just change the serving size. So the serving size will vary. That's not what necessarily what you should be having. It's just what you are having. You just change that to match up. So if I'm having 200 grams, obviously I would times it by 2. Time doesn't matter. That's on the paid for app. Who cares? Like, we don't care about meal timings here. And the meal is breakfast, and it tells me how many calories it is, how many carbs, fat, protein. We would just be focusing on the calories and the protein. So I would hit tick, enter that, and it takes me down to the bottom, and it also shows me, actually, before we hit tick, sorry, if you look down here, it tells me foods that I would normally have it with. So I would usually have my yogurt, some blueberries, granola, and a wee drizzle of honey, and that all comes up there because I frequently have them together. So that's really good. So I could just tick, 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 and it means I don't have to sit and look for them individually. So if they're foods that you normally have together quite often, like beans and toast, then if I was to put in my bread, and then the beans might show up underneath it, and I would just click them. They're things that I would have probably together, and it's a good wee time saver as well. So that is as simple as it is to log a meal. So when to log foods, we know how straightforward it is to log it. It is really simple. If you've got big complicated recipes, we're going to come to that in a second, because that is what trips a lot of people up and is what pisses people off, basically, is having to enter all the individual ingredients. So we're going to look at that in a wee second. But first of all, let's look at when you should log. Some people prefer to log as they go, which is fine. So if they have the breakfast, they'll log their breakfast. They'll have their lunch, they'll log their lunch. They'll have the dinner, log their dinner. Any snacks they have throughout the day, all the rest of it, coffee, hot chocolates, orange juice, whatever it is, they log it as they go. Okay, that's fine as long as you remember to do it, and try to do it either before you have the meal or after you have the meal, because you might forget parts of it. Okay, you need to log spreads, butter, oils, all these kind of things as well. So make sure you do it. Log everything that's going in your meal, like even things like sauces, mayonnaise, spreads, all that kind of thing. You need to log them because there's calories in them. If you pretend that there's not, it's just going to mess with your calorie goal. So make sure you do it. You could log in advance. I probably would say that is the easiest way to do it. If you take time on a Sunday, for example, and I've been doing this a lot more with some clients, and it has been so much more effective because they're not having to sit and log every single day. And that is, I suppose, a big part of what annoys people, is having to do this every single day. If you have the same breakfast every day, why don't you just take time on a Sunday and enter that meal for every single morning of the week? And that's that taken care of, because you know you're going to have the same breakfast every day, and that's it taken care of. Even if you alternate, some people like to switch between a couple of different things. Just put them in, and if it changes as you go, just change it as you go. So if I was having my yogurt every single morning, but then on Tuesday I ended up meeting a friend for a coffee and we went for brunch, then I would just change it. I would go in the app and I would delete what's there and just input something else instead. And it is really straightforward, and it saves time. It means you're not having to do it every single day as well. So try and do that. If you know what, if you even planning your meals ahead for the week, which a lot of us do, if we sit and think, right, if I need to go for the shopping, what we're having for this night and blah blah blah, then if you plan your meals, typically if you've got kids, a family, or if you're cooking for you and your partner, or even if it's just for yourself, then it is good to look ahead and see what you're having. So enter those meals, enter the recipes in, which we're going to come to in a wee minute. I'm going to show you how to do that. Put them in, and then that's that taken care of. If you know what you're having for your lunches, enter that. If you even know what snacks and stuff you're going to be having, if you take food to work, or you just like to get certain things into the house, if you're working from home, whatever it might be, then enter everything. And it means that everything's already there, and you just need to change it as you go. But remember, if you do make changes, to put them in, okay? Because it's easily done, that you've put the whole week in, everything's looking perfect, calories are bang on, and then you've had a few glasses of wine and you forget to enter it, or you meet somebody for dinner instead and you forget to change that. You know, these things happen, but make sure you do that. What I wouldn't recommend is you leave it to the end of the day, because you'll have likely forgotten a lot of things that you've had, even wee nibbles, biscuits, things like that, things if we're picking throughout the day. If you don't enter them, like I said, the same as spreads and butter and everything, there's still calories in them. So make sure you enter them. And if you leave it to the end of the day, you might forget about all these wee things you've had. And that's a lot of calories that are going unaccounted for. So I tend to say don't leave it to the end of the day if you can, because people will either forget, they'll get to the end of the day and go, "Oh, I can't be bothered, I'll do it tomorrow." And then tomorrow you forget everything you've eaten the day before. And then you just get kind of annoyed with it all and you get a bit overwhelmed and you think, "Oh God, I can't remember what I've had for the past 2 days," or whatever. So try either log as you go or log in advance. Don't leave it to the end of the day, because it's never as accurate. And people tend to forget and leave things out. So let's have a look at creating recipes. So as I said, this is one of the ones that really annoys people, especially if you're one for cooking at home. If you like to cook things from scratch, and you need to imagine making like cottage pie, and every time you make it, having to enter all the ingredients. I mean, that would annoy me to no end. I could not be bothered with that. So that's why it's good to create the recipe, and then you just have it there stored. And it then means the next time you make cottage pie, you just go to your recipes, select it, and that's it in there. You don't have to go, right, I had mince, I'm trying to think how I make a cottage pie here. Probably should have picked something a bit simpler. I've got my mince, I've got all my wee herbs and spices, whatever. I've got stock, I've got any sauce I use or gravy, whatever. I've got all the vegetables I need to put in, the butter that I use for the potatoes, the cheese, milk, whatever else goes in it all. I mean, that's a lot of things to be trying to list off, especially if you're busy and if you're scurried with the app as it is, then you want to make things as easy as possible. So start adding in recipes, even if you take a bit of time and you've got we've all got our go-to things that we cook. So even if you pick 5 things that you make regularly and just enter the recipes in there, and that's them stored and that's that taken care of. And then anything else as you go, you can add in, okay? And then it just means it's saved in there, and you don't need to keep adding in all these individual ingredients every single time you cook it, because who could be bothered with that? So if you go, I've selected the lunch option here just to show you. So you can scan a meal as well, or scan a barcode. Remember those two, they are really important. So if you're having a bag of crisps, you can scan the barcode directly into the app. So that's a really good one. If you even have like ready meals or anything like that, you can scan them straight in, and then you'll literally just scan the barcode. All the food comes up, all the calories breaking down and everything like that. So that's really handy. Remember that one, actually, I forgot about that. But then if you look up here, so you've got my meals, my recipes, my foods. So I've hit my recipes. You can create a recipe. You can search for recipes in MyFitnessPal if you're looking for some ideas. And then the other last one there says import recipes. So if you've followed a recipe from BBC Good Food, for example, then you can just copy the URL, like the web page, and then paste it in there, and it just takes the recipe and puts it right in there. And it is such a time saver, because it means you're not having to enter all the things individually yourself. It just copies and pastes the recipe straight into MyFitnessPal, and then it saves it. And then that is another recipe saved in there, okay, which is really, really handy. Creating a recipe, like I said, that's the one that you would do with your cottage pie. You would enter all the quantities, the measurements, whatever it is that you're putting in there, and then that's that taken care of as well. So use that. It's a great wee tool to have in MyFitnessPal. I think that's more of a recent one, and it's really, really good. So make use of that if you're quite keen on cooking it from scratch. It'll save you a lot of time. So yeah, my recipes, you can create your own recipes, import recipes from websites. And then the other one was my meals. So that's when I said about the yogurt one. So see if you look here, it says my meals there. So that's the one you click on, and you can pair foods that you often have together. And I would call it like yogurt and granola breakfast. Okay. And then that means that I'll pair the yogurt that I've got logged, the berries, the granola, my wee bit of honey. And every time I go to put my breakfast in, if I'm going to have that one, I'll say yogurt and berries breakfast, and it will come up straight away, rather than every single day having to put in yogurt, berries, granola, individual things. And it's not necessarily a recipe, it's just a meal made up of things. It's like, I don't know if you're having like fish fingers or something for dinner, right? That's not a recipe. But if you often have fish fingers, beans, or peas or something like that together, then these are just really simple things that you can partner up and make that as a meal. Okay, so I've put my yogurt one as an example. Saves you time, and if it's something that you have all the time, then it just makes your life a lot easier, doesn't it? So to sum up, we've kind of fired through that, but these are like the essentials that you need for using MyFitnessPal. You won't go wrong if you do all these things. It takes a bit of time to start, but like all things, if you take a bit of time to do something at the start, it'll save you time later on. Okay. So log everything, make sure you log all your snacks, all your drinks, absolutely everything that you eat. If you have a wee biscuit while you're waiting on the kettle boiling, you need to log that wee biscuit, okay? Everything that you pick at, if it was like a few nibbles, if it's a few bits of chocolate or something, everything that passes your lips, you need to log it, okay? Don't act like these things don't happen, because all these little nibbles add up, trust me, and it's so easy to underestimate it, but it's also so easy to spoil your progress. So if you are being so diligent in logging everything and tracking all your meals, but you're not logging like your coffees, and I say coffees, like if you have like a black coffee or just a splash of milk, or same with your tea, there's probably nothing to worry about. If you have a few sugars and a lot of milk, or you have like fancy coffees at lattes and that have got a lot of milk in them, then please log them, because there are calories in them, okay? And maybe even set an allowance. If you have a latte every day, then just set that calorie. So that might be like, what's 80 calories or something, say, then that's 80 calories every day, and that'll add up. So make sure you log that, okay? It sounds a bit annoying, but it is what it is. If you want to get results, then you need to do it right. Make sure you track your weekends. We all tend to be beautifully behaved Monday to Friday, and then I go and look at people's food diaries, and Saturday and Sunday is lost. And I think all my poor clients are starving themselves from Friday night to Monday morning. I thought, oh God, you aren't eating a single thing because you haven't tracked anything. What's going on? No, what's happening is you are eating, but you're not tracking it. So make sure you do, because the weekends count, and the weekends can undo all your hard work. Okay, so if you're being, like I said, it's the same as the snack thing. If you're being so diligent Monday to Friday, and then come the weekend, it's just like dust. Make sure you track them as well, because it's so important. Don't leave it all to the end of the day. Like I said earlier, you'll forget, you won't be arsed when you've had a long day at work or whatever, you're knackered, you're trying to sit there thinking, oh God, what did I have for my breakfast? And you can't even remember what you had for your dinner. So don't leave it to the end of the day, because it's just it won't work. Eat to your target, not under it. So if I set you a calorie goal, we want you eating to that calorie goal. We don't want you going under it. So say, right, so I've got 1,600 calories. So what I'm going to do is I'll eat 1,400, and that'll help me lose weight quicker. We've set you 1,600 for a reason, or we've set you whatever it is for a reason. If you go too low under it, then it's going to mess up your adherence. It might mean that you're too hungry. It might mean that you've not got enough energy, and it means that you're just going to end up losing the plot with your diet. Okay, so really try and stick to that calorie goal. Don't eat under it, because I won't be impressed. It's not going to make me feel better knowing, oh, she's right under it. Good girl, like, well done. You're doing great there. Really impressing me with that one. No, please eat to your target. Don't under eat, please. Prioritize calories and protein. Don't worry about your carbs and fats. Go and have a look through any of the guides that talk about your calorie goals and the importance of protein. Remind yourself that these two things are all about fueling your body, making you feel better, making you stronger, making you healthier. It is easy to get tied up in the calories and get overwhelmed by it all. Keep things as simple as possible. Remember that calories is just the measurement of energy that's in your food, okay? And we're just trying to balance out your energy that you're consuming, that you're burning off, to get you to a desired weight goal, or a desired way to look, or a desired performance outcome, okay? The protein is there to keep you fuller for longer, to make your bones stronger, to make your muscles healthier, to help you recover better, all these kind of things. And at the end of the day, that's all it is. It's really simple, and it's so easy for us to get caught up in it. But prioritize calories and protein, and don't worry about your carbs and fats. It'll just overcomplicate things and scunner you. Guesstimate when eating out. Make a educated guess, I suppose, when you're eating out. Like, you can look things up. You'll never get it bang on. Even restaurants have got calorie goals and stuff on them now, but at that, they're still inaccurate. So just set, I would say, depending on where you're going, some places like Nando's and stuff, we've got the guides, the eating out guides. Some places have got like a calorie breakdown, so you can kind of plan ahead for that. If I was going out for like a Chinese or something, for example, I would know that I'm going to be going a little bit higher than what I normally have. So set aside a good chunk of calories. I would say at least 800 if you were going out for a big meal. It might even be more than 1,000 if you're having a starter, a main, dessert. It just depends what kind of meal you're going out for. Try to just be sensible and always overestimate rather than underestimate. Okay. Always think it's going to be more than what it is, rather than, going on the lower side and being a bit more kind to yourself. Overestimate, and that should help you out. And remember, it's not 100% accurate. Like I said, nothing is going to be 100% accurate when it comes to tracking. We are just trying to be as accurate as we can and do it as consistently as we can. That's why I want you to track your weekends, track all your snacks, track everything. Don't leave it to guesswork, and don't leave it to chance. Don't waste your own time. Make sure you do it right in that period of time that we're tracking for, because we want you to track so well for a set period of time that we don't need you to track anymore. This isn't forever. Remember, this is a short-term thing to help you create more awareness about what you're eating and to help you build better eating patterns. We don't want you getting obsessed with this. We don't want you hating it. We just want you to do it for a short period of time, do it right for that period of time, and then it means you don't need to do it anymore. Or if you ever come to a point that you maybe want to gain a bit more muscle, maybe drop a bit of body fat, then all we need to do is start logging again for a couple of weeks, make a few tweaks, and that is it. Happy days. We don't want you doing this forever because it's boring, it's a bit intrusive, and it shouldn't be the way that you eat. It is just building a bit of awareness so you can make some changes and improve your diet until you reach a desired outcome. This isn't forever, okay? So remember that, keep that in mind when you do have periods where you just feel a bit, oh, this is absolutely ruining my soul. Please don't think that way. This is just a short-term solution, okay, to help you get to that desired outcome. Right, guys, so hope you find that useful. Take your time using MyFitnessPal. Just keep using the app. The more you use it, the more you'll get used to it. Don't feel like you're going to mess up or anything with it. If you're struggling, obviously let me know. Watch this back and just, get used to using the app. And like I said, the more you do it, the more you'll get used to it. Okie doke. And that is us done with that one.